Yeah, thank you. So we'll move on to the next one, which is the detailed plan of study. And I think it's
Okay.
important that we discuss this too now because there's some overlap. But the first one, they gave you 125 words because I think they're expecting you to give a brief outline. Detailed plan of study, they'll be expecting more details, which is why they've given you about 300 words to write about your detailed plan of study.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
like I said before, as a master's student, you do not have a research proposal, or you do not have to have a research proposal. If you have one, it's very nice, but you do not have to have a research proposal. So when you come into the detailed plan of study, the question says, provide a detailed plan of your proposed study. The selection panel will want to understand why you have selected your proposed courses and universities. You should remember that although the selection panel will be well informed, they are not likely to be specialists in your subject. Describe clearly why you have chosen your proposed courses and universities and why you want to undertake this study in the UK, what it is that you are looking for in a course, and how your chosen courses relate to your objectives, and any dissertation topic you have in mind. So there are three bullet points there:
Okay.
why you chose your courses and your universities, why you're in the UK, what you want to get out of the course, and if you have any dissertation topic in mind, you can also drop it there. Remember, in the study outline
Okay.
before, you've just given a brief overview of what you want to study in relation to the problem you want to solve. So that's on your side. On this side, you're talking about,
Yeah.
okay, because in the master's application, you're going to three choices of courses across different universities in the UK. You're going to say this is your first choice, second choice, and third choice. So they want to know why these schools, why these courses. The course you want to go for, maybe there are 17 different universities in the UK offering it. Why have you chosen these three? And that's a good question you need to
Exactly.
ask yourself as well. Because if you want to study XYZ and the best place to study XYZ is this university, or this university, or that university, and you're not listing those universities in your topic, in your essay, you need to justify why. And it might simply be because these universities are teaching it in one direction and you want to tackle the problem from a different direction. And that is the reason why you want to go into this other institution, because they are offering a particular module that is tailored to that specific want that you have, which is different from what everybody else is doing on the other side. So those are some of the key things that you need to understand. So I know when I wrote this essay, I had to first of all research which universities are studying, because my problem was road safety, obviously. So I had to check which universities are studying courses relating to road safety. You know, different, because road safety can come in different ways. It can come as an engineering problem, it can come as a psychological problem, it can come as a clinical problem. So these are different things. Someone in public health can also contribute into the area of road safety. But my background was in engineering, so I went for the engineering option. So you pick that, and then you go into the courses. What modules do these people have? Which of them? Because it's not just about they are doing transportation engineering or they are doing transportation planning on that course. Are they doing? Is there a road safety element in the prospectus of that course, which is what you're actually looking for? So you go and check, and if it's there, you pick it. If it's not there, you move to the next one. So I listed out, these are the universities I want to go for. This is why, because in this school I know that they are studying this. The university I went to, University of Leeds, there's an Institute for Transport Studies. They do a lot of very good work in transportation. There's a whole module on road safety. They even have a whole lab and everything where they do a lot of road safety testing with the driving simulator and everything that's there. So those are points. There's a driving simulator. They carry out these studies. That this particular researcher, this lecturer is there, and they do a lot of work in the road safety aspect. From the place you want to deal with the problem from, they are there. The UK has one of the lowest road collision rates in the world. So it's another good point of why I wanted to study in the UK. It's not just that you want to study in the UK because you want to study in the UK, but is the UK the best place to also study what you want to study? So you also need to think
Exactly.
about that. You need to think about that. Is the UK a good place to study what you want to study? Because if the UK is not a good place to study what you want to study, then it becomes a problem. Why are you coming to the UK? Why don't you? Because remember, it's a competitive scholarship. A lot of people are looking for the chance to get this funding, and they want to give the funding to the people that are going to make the most impact with it. So if you will be better served in Australia, or even if what you want to study is best studied in your home country, for example, maybe you should go and apply for the Commonwealth Distance Learning Scholarship, or all those other ones. So you need to understand these things and make it clear that this is your first choice because this and that. There's this professor you want to work with, there's this infrastructure in the university, there's this particular module. there are these other things. There's this work that the university is doing, or there's this alumni that you've identified that's working very well in this field, and he has said that it is because he has studied this course at this university. That is why he's making that impact in a neighboring country for yours or in a similar region to yours, and then you want to also do the same thing he's doing in your own country, and that is why you want to go and study that course. It is also a good thing. Universities like to hear that the alumni are doing well, so that can also be a very good point for you as well. So you just need to understand the context of what you want to do. I would always tell people, shy away from listing all those ratings that they list on the university. You know, is ranked 10th in the UK or 12th in the UK. You know, it can be ranked 12th in the UK, but it's not 12th in what you want to study. So even if you want to name a ranking, let the ranking be related to what you want to study. If this is number 1 in transportation in the UK, then that makes sense that you're going to that university, but not because it is number 10 in the UK or number 12 in the world. That's not a strong enough reason, if you ask me. Because if they are comparing people's essay, remember, they are going to compare you against others. So if someone is saying, I want to go to University of Edinburgh because they are the number 1 in clinical psychology, and you are saying you want to go to University of Edinburgh because they are number 12 in the UK, if I have to choose between the both of you, you know, the other person that knows that is number 1 in clinical psychology and he wants to study clinical psychology sounds like a more passionate candidate. So it's just one of those things that you need to be wary of. So what I'm going to say at the end is, do your research. Read about the universities. The more knowledge you have, the better story you can tell about why you want to take up all these opportunities, because it's a competition for resources. So you need to put in a strong application. So you need to say the right thing to get your foot in the door. Yeah. See, did you
exactly,
want to
exactly. Yeah. In fact, I just want to add on to that as a way of looking at it from PhD. Just like you said, you clearly put it. I think from the PhD angle, one thing is important for prospective candidates to understand is that PhD is more about the supervisor than the university itself. Like you mentioned, you want to go to Edinburgh because of this reason or that reason. For PhD, sometimes the university that you go to might not have a strong bearing, but then the expertise of the person that is going to supervise you, whether that person is a professor, the person is an authority in the area. So it's more of the person guiding you, the expertise that the person has, rather than the university. The university plays an important role, but it's more of the person who is going to be your supervisor, whether that guy has a thorough and strong understanding in the area. So as a way of looking at it from the PhD angle, is more of doing your research to see whether that university is important. For example, when I was doing my own, I had to look for universities in the UK that offer Islamic finance, right? And Durham happens to be one of them. But I'd not only stop there. The key thing for PhD applicants to make sure that your application actually stands out is the fact that you identify that your prospective supervisor is an authority in your area of specialization. I think this is one of the ways that can contribute to your application, standing out. Then I've also identified a few points that, you need to include from your proposal in this detailed study plan. First one is that you need to state your overall research aim. What does your research hope to achieve? Because at the end of the day, you are putting in a proposal to solve a particular problem. So as a way of responding to this detailed study plan, it's important that you highlight your overall study aim. The second point is that what is the potential role of your chosen program or your dissertation topic? Try to create a linkage between your chosen program or your dissertation topic with the SDGs that you've identified. So this is an opportunity for you to be somehow a little bit more detailed. Previous one, you just highlighted them, we were brief, but this is an opportunity for you to explore, to explain how your chosen program and your proposed dissertation topic would have a bearing on your SDG goals. Try to create a story to link them. So this is an opportunity for you to present that in your detailed study plan. Another thing that you might be, interested to put in here is your research methodology. So in other words, you've identified the problem, you've given a detailed plan of how you're going to the proposed how to call it, your potential, the potential role that your program is going to do in terms of solving those SDG issues that you identify. And then the third thing that you might want to include is your methodology. How would you go about solving that problem? Having a prospective supervisor who is an expert in this area should be a key consideration for prospective PhD candidates. But when it comes to this detailed part, these three things I believe are very important to include your overall objective of your program and the role that your program or your chosen dissertation topic is going to do in terms of addressing the SDGs that you identify, and third, the methodology that you plan to use in your dissertation to solve the problem. So these three things, I believe, are very key when addressing or answering this detailed study plan.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I think one other thing I just wanted to add for the master's students, anyway, is you are going to write about 3 different courses across different universities. Try to make sure that the courses are related, as related as possible, because obviously you're pursuing one goal. So all your courses should be related in a way that they all move into that one goal. But if you're writing with the 300 words, I would say use more words to write about your first choice, and then use less words to write about your second and third choice, because those are backup options in case your first choice does. Because the reason why you have 3 choices is if your first choice doesn't give you the admission and you eventually get the scholarship, because that happens, then you can use the scholarship to go to your second choice or your third choice, because maybe the first choice didn't give you admission because of maybe something along the eligibility criteria or something of that nature, or they didn't offer that course that year. Because sometimes it happens in universities. If a lot of people, especially if you're going for a course that's not a high demand or it is very specialist, and the university does not have enough students to undertake that course, maybe they have a minimum of at least 25 and they don't have up to 25 people that they gave admission on that course, they might decide to not take that course for that year and move it. So some people will defer to the next year, and the next year they'll try to get more students. So if you want to take the scholarship this year, it might be possible that you may not be able to go to that university, so you go to second or third choice. But like I said, try to take more of your words to talk about your first choice, because that's the actual place that you want to go. I'm saying this so that you don't go and start sharing 50 words for one university, 50 words for the other, 50 words for the other university, and you write too briefly that you don't expand on the point you want to expand on. So you can make 4 or 5 points on why you want to go to the first choice, and give 2 points on why the other one is also a good option, and the 2 points on why the other one is also a good option in case the other 2 don't fail. Because the passion and the reasoning why you're going to those schools will come out in the first one as already. So the second one is just a kind of a repetition. So I just wanted to point that out before we move on. Ejiro, do you want to say something? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, thank you. Just to add, I just to be sure I understood clearly. Are we referring to detailed plan of study, which I think is a course? Or are we referring to the university?
The course, the plan of study.
Okay, because you just get because I was listening to what you said, so you're just talking about in general, but because what I did for my master's is, it's kind of expected that even if you choose 3 different universities, the courses should be similar. It's expected.
Yes.
So for me, what I did, I just spoke about one course because the courses were similar. I just spoke about one course and I was detailed about it. Some people spoke about the 3 different courses. I did one course. So it depends on what you want to do, what you think is your selling points.
Yeah, I think that's also a good way to do it. I know someone that just wrote about everything and then went into the last paragraph was, for my second choice I would do this course at this university, and for my third choice I would do this course at this university.
That was
the end.
That's what I did. I first talked so much on the first one, and now second, third. That was what I did exactly. Yeah. So it's fair.
I think if I may add on to that, yeah, because we've been emphasizing the fact that the write-up has to be logical. There has to be some sort of coherence, right? I think the logical thing to do is to have the same program in different universities, because what might eventually happen if you choose a different program, it might not have a bearing on the content that you've written earlier. For example, you can plan to have an MSc in transportation management at Leeds University, but you want to have the same program at a different university, MSc in transportation management, because what might eventually happen if you opt for a different course, that might not somehow logically link with the content. For example, if you have MSc in transportation management as your proposed program that you want to do at MSc level, and in your first choice of university, that is MSc in transportation management. In your second choice, you indicate, let's say, MSc in logistics and transportation. So somehow the key message here is that whatever program you might settle for in your second and third university of options should be, similar to your program in the university of choice. Because what might eventually happen if you choose a different program, that might not have a link with the content you've already written. So this is just a pointer for prospective applicants to look for. Different universities will have different programs. It could be related, but at the same time distinct in some areas. So what is important is in your second and third choice, make sure that your program of choice is not fundamentally different from your first program of choice, because your first program of choice, the assumption is that the content that you're going to write will revolve around your first program of choice. So if you eventually have a second or somehow different program in your university, a second preference and third preference, then you will create a problem for the reader to link your program of choice with your actual content that you put in your essay write-ups.
Yeah, I think that was a very important point, because I think I've seen someone's essay and the person kind of, there was no real link between the third choice. It seemed more like it was an afterthought. And the reason why they gave you three choices is so that if you don't take the first one, you take the second one. So they will consider the second and the third, even if it's not your main choice, they'll still consider it to link back to the story of your impact, your plan. So it all has to have that same content. Yeah.